Kia ora everyone, welcome back to some more LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean sets. This here is set 4194, the Whitecap Bay, which released as part of the On Stranger Tides wave of sets. But before we get into that, I need to explain something very quick. A very short story for you all. I actually got this set closer to release. I know the exact mall and the exact store and everything. I managed to get this so close to releasing because it was slashed to an absolutely insane discount. I'm thinking it was about 50% or something crazy. The reasoning was because the box had been tampered with and the store had to seal it all back up again. And there was some claim about how they could only guarantee that a handful of items were missing, but not everything. I don't know, something about how they just didn't really have the time or the care to figure out what exactly was missing, so they just took a rough estimate. So they put it on a deeper clearance price. And my parents, well, they said good enough, and so we took it home and here it is. As for what is missing, oddly enough, a single sticker, but I'll let you guess which one, some pieces for the roof section, and the worst offender, unfortunately, 3 minifigures, 2 of which I was able to purchase. Yes, this video unfortunately misses the minifig inclusion of Phillip Swift, and I am very disappointed about this. I've tried for years to find this guy, but the issue with this is based on where I live in the world. On Bricklink, the minifigure's price is very acceptable for me in the current situation that I'm in, being able to use YouTube income to pay for things like this, but every seller appears to be international, based in Germany, or I found a couple that were in the United States, or other areas of Europe. Once you factor in the shipping costs there, I was looking at paying $35 for the cheapest figure, not including his accessories, probably not even the best condition, and it's not including any fees that I might have to pay on top of that. Now, truth be told, I don't earn that much from these videos to pay more than an hour's rate of work for a Phillip Swift minifig, but this guy has been the most elusive figure from my collection, missing for over a decade now. So I just want to clarify that I got a really good deal on this set, but it also came at a different price. The set here contains 745 pieces in total, with originally 6 minifigs, 3 of them being exclusive to this set only. It retailed back in the day for the price of $80 USD before tax, so quite the rise here compared to the ones that we've been looking at before this one. Here in NZ it was $170 NZD, very high. Inflated prices time, if this set was to be released today, the price adjusted for inflation in USD would be about $114 USD before tax. That is quite the difference. And when I convert that price into NZD, that $114 USD becomes nearly $190 NZD today. So that price is higher than what we had to pay in 2011. The official 2011 price though that we paid in NZ adjusted for inflation in today's market is actually $233 NZD in 2025. These are some insane numbers to see, but we are beginning to see some building type sets released for over $200 again here in NZ. And it's a Disney license here as well, so maybe that would be an accurate assessment. But if I thought that was bad, wait until we look at the aftermarket space. It's currently being listed for around $350 NZD sealed, or $213 NZD in second-hand condition. Pretty close to that inflated price point, less than actually. The set here shows Blackbeard's crew attempting to steal a mermaid's tear. It's one of the big action set pieces from the movie, so of course it makes sense to translate that scene into a big playset. But first we'll take a look at the Whitecap Bay box here. I was really hoping I could show some visible damage here, but I guess the person who stole the figures just very casually opened the box and just managed to take bag 1. And some people may think that's a difficult thing to do, but back in the day, every LEGO set opened with your minifigures being in bag 1. Sometimes bag 1 was literally just the minifigs, so it was actually a pretty easy heist to pull off back then. The back here of the massive box shows the set all displayed there. We get some glimpses of the play features there, like the cannon with a net which can be moved out of the boathouse. Here's the magic finger here demonstrating the net, and then you've got a barrel tipping over the side there as well. The lighthouse that includes the light brick element, though don't get too excited about seeing what that looks like in 2025. And then this section here shows some destruction elements at play, very cool stuff. And now's also a good time to plug my Port Royal video, which was a set idea from the official designers of the LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean line. It sees this set and the London Escape set combined to make one big release. That video is already up here on the channel, so feel free to check that out when you're done here. It's a pretty interesting piece of LEGO history. The set's main draw here, of course, is the lighthouse, but you've got some cool extras there too, like the boats down below, which the crew used to capture those mermaids. 2 boats that cannot float here, featuring a very cool netted piece that's placed in between the 2 rafts. If I remove our figures here and just look at this for what they are, simple builds and the same for both. You've got a lantern there at the front that uses some seats and some oars and a little bucket. The web line there goes through the net and it links on both ends to make a rather unique capturing system that I haven't seen often in other LEGO releases. Very cool. As for the build of Whitecap Bay, I love this thing. The entire line of the pirate sets is just playset after playset, and these make for some really interesting display pieces, far more so than the usual type of releases that we see on shelves today. It's as tall as I remembered, featuring some really nice details like color changes and sticker designs there, the biggest fault in 2025 being the amount of reddish brown bricks that it uses. A very high risk of breakage using these older pieces. The build here splits away into 4 segments, so if you wanted to, you could have the option of different customization options, but for simplicity we'll keep it to the original build and just go from left to right. We start with this little section over to the side which features a big barrel and a little barrel. The bigger barrel can be tipped over and inside you've got some bricks there representing whale oil, which is dangerous to be spilling around open flames. It's a Technic pin that holds this barrel in place there, and directly below the massive drum, you've got a little canister there with some gold coins inside for treasure. As for that entranceway, you've got some plates there that build up some steps, and there's a small build with a gate piece around some rock-like inclusions. It's strange to see these studs just sitting around here, and then the plates come to an anticlimactic end as we reach that wall. I made a short separate video about this over on TikTok, but I was building this set for the video, and this plate here snapped in 3, so everything was fine for 14 years until this week when I decided to rebuild this thing. You can see the 3 separate sections there held together in place by a grill piece, so I am missing a minifigure, I'm missing some pieces, and now I've got a broken segment as well. The boathouse is a very cool build idea that could probably fit the boats in for storage, but you'd have to remove what's already built inside there first. There's some cool standing room up top there for some placement for minifigs, and if I open that boathouse up, it reveals the cannon that's been placed inside. This features a net piece which you would be using to capture the mermaid, and built on a slide track design so that you can easily remove this piece from your display. The cannon's cool. It's got a little flame element there up top to signify the cannon's been ignited, and it's set to fire whenever you're ready. And I really thought that this would be a rather pathetic gimmick, so I prepared everything up close there, and the net just flew right over me. Even when I tried to lightly press on the switch, it would still fly past me at launch. So it's a really fun toy to be messing around with. Stuffing this thing back in can be a bit tricky because it causes the nozzle to break away from the stressor built up there, but it's really cool to have those 2 nets, where one is used for display and one is used for play. It's the same net piece too, but a different method used for each. That basically covers the exterior of the set. It's now time to take a look at the interior, and there's more here than I thought initially. From what we've seen from the line so far, the interiors be a lacking, matey. More emphasis appears to be put on the minifigures and the exterior scenes. There's about 5 display rooms in total if you want to be generous, but that's certainly a bit of a stretch. Like this boathouse here, which features very little room for standing since the whole thing is occupied by that cannon. The next room features some interactive options there. It's a box in the first room with a pickaxe and a shovel. The main dining room there features a table with some chairs, and the extras being a bottle of rum, a gold ingot piece, and a sextant. Directly above that room we have what I believe to be the lighthouse controls. There's nothing functional there, but a nice in-universe explanation for how the pirates can be operating the light there. You can faintly see behind Scrum there that there's a build that's some form of a switch, but more on that in a sec. The lighthouse itself has an exposed opening, and the top of the castle-like design just attaches to the supports there. There's some more standing room there if you would like, and this is where some of the missing parts come into play. Somehow the set was missing just some very minor corner sections there. Now the build features the lighthouse brick with a magnifying glass out on the front, and yes, it really can light up, or at least it used to, because my brick unfortunately no longer works. I did try to replace the battery, but it seems to be connected to some circuitry. It also looked like it had corroded, so I thought it was best to leave it. Back to that switch though, it knocks against the walls here, and eventually you can break the walls down. This is the set's main play feature. As we see in the movie, Jack does blow up the lighthouse, big trailer moment and everything. Now that switch is also built as a front switch, so you've got 2 different ways of doing this, and I will be covering both. The set's old, so no matter which way I do this, it refuses to properly fall apart for me. Parts get stuck, or maybe it's just me and I'm doing this wrong. Both are entirely possible, but trying this again here and risking breaking my bricks, yeah, it works just fine that time. I freaked out though. Some of the parts will break away from the build, and I'm always terrified of just snapping my reddish brown bricks like this. So it breaks down into 4 sections. You got 2 walls, a floor plan, and then the top of the castle-like structure. This is ultimately what the build looks like when it's all battle damaged. It makes the whole thing look so much smaller than it actually is. And reassembly is very simple. It's the walls first of course, and then your floor plan. It's a little tricky. There's some cylinder parts there that hold it in place, but they're very annoying to be dealing with, so you have to come at it from this kind of an angle. And the tower goes against these cones and tiles. If I attempt to break it again from the front angle, the same thing happens, one wall first and then the other one, and it collapses, but hardly. A better view of how this display works in this style. It is funny to see it just barely manage to hold on here, but it's probably not a good thing either to just be so reckless now, because like I said, I am worried about breaking those bricks, and can you imagine if I did that all for a YouTube video? But one last try for old time's sakes. I remember it being very fun as a kid and not nearly as concerning as it is today. I think Whitecap Bay is pretty great. The display piece overall looks really cool on shelves, as most lighthouse builds often do. The minifigures here are a pretty great bunch with only 2 major repeats there. Rest in peace Phillip, who again counts as one of those 3 exclusives, but I do have the other 2 very important figures here. This here is Captain Jack Sparrow as seen in the London Escape set, and also the Queen Anne's Revenge. This Jack sports his brown coat and hat that's been molded onto his hairpiece for that iconic Jack Sparrow style. It's a very cool minifig. It's a little tricky to come up with new things to say about minifigures you've been talking about for the past couple of weeks at this point. I did always appreciate the accessories of the compass being included with every Jack Sparrow minifigure, and the expressions are top stuff as well. It's a really cool figure with some issues on the torso and the flesh printing just not really matching the colors for the head and hands. His value is moderately high for a minifigure, between $16 to $36 NZD right now in the aftermarket space, a slight increase from the last time we looked at this exact figure. And then this here is Scrum, who ended up releasing in a minifig pack, which was how I was able to afford him for a rather reasonable price in the aftermarket space. I have actually spent less time with this guy, so because he's so fresh for me, he's currently my favorite minifig. It's also crazy to have a Stephen Graham minifigure from around those Boardwalk Empire days. Cool printing that is unique for him, with a head, torso and leg printing that was only ever used on this guy. He also uses a great satchel piece with a gap that's intended for a sword, repeated on the zombie figure there too. Removing that part to show the printing underneath a bit better, the current value for Scrum here is worth just $12 to $16 NZD right now in the aftermarket space. Then this here is Syrena, who has to be the clear winner for the best minifigure of the set, a very highly desired minifig and highly exclusive, where to begin really, the printing of course is what makes her unique. Blue for one mermaid, and you probably saw green for the other one that's coming up next. She features a print of a tear on her face, the elusive MacGuffin that the pirates are after in this specific sequence of the film. The mermaid tail was introduced around this time, and it featured a recolor and some new printing there to make it unique to only her, but also the hairpiece was brand new for the line as well, introduced here originally for Elizabeth Swann, and it has since then been recolored and re-released in countless of other LEGO sets. She features a double-sided expression revealing some guild-like designs. I always appreciated the printing on the tail, which meant that you could swap the sides around to show the mermaids may be in motion for swimming. Also a vine piece being used there as a whip. The value is very high for her since she is both a mermaid and a named character release, currently valued between essentially $50 NZD to almost $100 NZD in the aftermarket space. And then this is the unnamed mermaid, who I think might be here resembling the first mermaid we see in the movie. She's pretty close to Syrena in her similarities, but she's coloured in green. The face print is great there, also useful for customs, but the downside being the hairpiece, which we have seen time and time again these days. A double-sided expression of a much scarier look compared to Syrena. It looks more clear in depicting an attacking-like motion. Her value is currently between $36 NZD to $44 NZD right now. And then finally we end on the Gunner Zombie, who was repeated in 4 sets in total, so I feel pretty indifferent on him honestly, but it's also the first time that he's appearing here on the channel, so my mistake. He's a pretty cool figure actually, I'm just so used to having multiples of this guy. He's essentially a cannon fodder enemy type release, he's not even named, just given the title of Gunner, also using that satchel piece and no firearm provided, which is interesting. He's got some pretty spooky printing there with his scars and his eye patch, but cheap on the value side of things online, currently priced between $4 to $7 NZD right now. And the instructions for this massive set here released in 2 booklets. The first one builds your minifigures and the boats and the smaller structures, as well as that main tower. That's how you end the build there, and then we're sent off by the winning kid. The next booklet there builds the boathouse with the cannon, and at the back here we have the features highlighted on the box, which we did already look at, and some poster images of the other sets from the wave there. Videos are up on the channel for each of these releases. The same poster for the Alien Conquest theme that we've seen in the other sets, and then Max from the LEGO Club, and we end things with an advertisement for the LEGO game, which released around the same time. Overall, despite missing something very important here with Phillip, this is one of my favorite LEGO sets from the theme. and because I didn't have to pay full price for this thing, I didn't have to experience the price per piece difficulties that we've come to discover with these sets in the line. I do think it's very pricey as the others have been in comparison. This line appears to have just been very high up there compared to what we see today, and even back then though. I love the playsets, I love the elements of the mermaids there, which are very unique to only this release, and it feels like a really great iconic scene to build a set from. I've got the full scene decked out here with some extras from the Queen Anne's Revenge set, which helps to give this a more complete scene, and overall I feel pretty great with this release. If you enjoyed this look at an older LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean set, liking this video here and subscribing to the channel does help to support more videos like this one in the future. Thanks for watching everyone, ka kite anō, take care, hope to see you all next time.